Assalamu alaikum ji. Welcome back to an episode of Kahe, Kazi. My guest today was Shaun Ansari. Shaun Ansari
is somebody that used to do motion graphics, but now is teaching people how to do things inside of a game engine.
In a game engine, which is the Unreal Engine, which is
the Unreal Engine,
you are one of the 150 people in the world.
Yeah, so it's, hopefully more to come soon. But I am Pakistan's first Unreal Authorized Instructor.
Yes. We get to speaking about technological determinism, about the ramifications of the metaverse, about the ramifications of learning how to use the Unreal Engine in the metaverse, about teaching, about learning, and about inculcating a sense of community in the creators of tomorrow, and about racing towards obsolation. We want to become obsolete.
Yeah.
That's good?
Yeah. That's
Anything
good.
else?
Yeah. No, just that. And then, I guess that's racing to become obsolete.
Racing to become obsolete. Racing to become obsolete. We're racing to become obsolete.
Yes.
Enjoy. 3, 2, 1. Shaun Ansari. How you doing, Shaun?
I'm doing okay.
That's it, dude. That's it. We're in now. We're going.
Okay. I know the way you started.
So here's the thing. I was telling you why I don't put any headers, any topics. I do put a summary in the description,
okay.
right? I'll put it in the all audio format. I'll put it in on the YouTube video as well. Like, the reason why I started was because I felt generally we've lost the appreciation for conversations generally.
Okay.
Right? मतलब ये है कि अगर दो लोग सुन रहे हैं तो हमारा immediate knee jerk reaction होता है कि भाई मैं भी कुछ बोल दूं, instead of actually just sitting there and figuring out what the other person's saying. We start to use whatever fighting analogy or bullying analogy or whatever. We start sizing the other person up. हम उसको भांपना शुरू कर देते हैं कि यार अच्छा क्या बोल रहा है तो मैं इसको जवाब दे दूं किस तरीके से. And that's why I don't put any topics on. That's it. And so now we're in, dude. Now they're going to have to click on Shaun Ansari, inshallah, once it's uploaded. They're going to have to click on Shaun Ansari and just sit through the ride, dude. I don't even know what's going to happen.
Nice. I like the fact that there's no format. This is good.
There's nothing. This is happening. Allah
There's
Rahim
no
karega.
format.
Alhamdulillah, you're here. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Very excited to finally make this happen.
Yeah,
We've been trying
very
long to do this, but I wanted to do it before.
I think we've been trying since you were in China.
But I wanted to do the show before the year ends. So that was important for me because we've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure first I wasn't coming on the show because I felt there was nothing for me to say.
Oh, please do. Yeah.
And then I said, no, I can't. I'm camera shy, but I'm a little better now.
You're better now?
A little better.
Dude, I think...
I can be in front of the camera, but I tell we had convocation. I teach at IoBM.
All right, so let's introduce you for a minute. Yeah. So you're a teacher?
I am a teacher. Well, kind of. So formal introduction. By trade, I am a visual effects artist.
Okay.
So I do motion graphics, VFX, color grading, all that stuff, post-production. And now I have sort of moved into instruction for game design. So I am, as of this video being recorded, I am Pakistan's first Epic Games Unreal Authorized Instructor.
I didn't know that.
There's 150 as of this video in the world, and so Epic Games is certifying people to be instructors on their game engine.
MashaAllah, dude.
So yeah.
So एक मिनट. So game engine meaning it's like is it like a software to make games?
So you can think of it as like a sandbox.
Okay.
Right. So when a video game, it helps you make a game.
Okay.
But the engine is doing kind of the heavy lifting.
Okay.
So all the little things that if you had to go and build all these little components, it would take you very long. So the game does it for you, like the lighting, the physics, the particle system, all of that, the rendering, the colors, and a lot of the stuff that if you had to build, it kind of gives you a sandbox to now come and mold and create your world. That's what an engine is.
Okay.
So it's doing a lot of this background heavy lifting when you play a game. Unreal is one of the world's most popular.
See, I knew that. Yeah.
I can't. So you probably. I can't say one of the world's most, but it's a very popular game engine. And now Epic Games which is the parent company that makes it, they are certifying people not as masters, but as certified instructors.
Wow.
The reason for that is you may be very good at a particular tool, but teaching it is difficult.
Yes.
And particularly being a good teacher is not easy. And they don't certify you to be the best teacher. They just certify that you can teach.
Okay.
And this engine is difficult to learn sometimes. A lot of questions can come up from new learners. You have to be patient. You have to be able to break down concepts so that they get and start using it. So I got certified. It was a 6-month process. Started in January. Jan 2019, I think. No, Jan 2020. And it was a online exam. And then it was a couple of demonstrations. And then 6 months later, I got an email saying that they've checked all the responses, they've checked the videos, it's okay, I've cleared.
Beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so 2 questions. One, do you know how many people applied from Pakistan?
No, because they don't give that information. They just once you've gotten Unreal verified, they add you to, like, they just tell you that you're part of a community now, and then you can see, of course, whoever's in that community.
Around the world.
From around the world. There was, right now, I checked today before coming here, there was 148 of them. 148 people have cleared in the world right now, have cleared this and are now providing training on Unreal Engine.
Alhamdulillah.
Not to say that training nahi ho rahi Pakistan mein and around the world. People are training. This is more of like you are authorized to provide instruction on, like, they've checked what you know.
Yeah, you're with a certain body.
It's not to say that no, only people that have this can train.
मतलब चलो but एक और चीज. So just to anchor it in our colloquial discourse, what are some of the more popular games that have been built on Unreal?
So the biggest one is Fortnite,
right?
So Fortnite.
See, you need to lead with that. Like,
I know.
Like the people who built Fortnite, I'm with those people now.
You know what's funny? One of your guests, Bilal Hamid.
Yeah.
He introduces me like that. He's like, "Oh, Shaun made Fortnite." Yeah. And I said, "No, don't. Please stop saying that."
But I mean.
I guess he's like, "Logo samajh nahi aata." Okay, no.
But I think that's important, dude. You know, देखो. I wish it wasn't like that. I wish people could just appreciate the gravity and the breadth of work that you do, and just the technicalities of it, but they can't. फिर वही वाली बात है, उनको भांपना होता है, तो भांपने के लिए आप पहले उनको मुंह में देते हैं Fortnite. फिर आप समझाते हैं ये एक्चुअली एक इंजन होता है that builds the world and runs all those things, and then they're just like, oh, but Fortnite. Okay, Fortnite.
So Fortnite, and then there's Valorant.
There you go, right?
And then there's PUBG Mobile.
उससे पुराना?
So PUBG Mobile. This Unreal Tournament was the game that it was made on.
Right.
So 1990s Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, because हम पुराने हैं थोड़े से ना. And I was like, Fortnite.
So Unreal Tournament, and then it goes from that, and then they develop an engine.
Yeah.
And they let people make games using the engine. And then what happens is that in 2016 they released this big version which people can download. And recently, because of Fortnite being so successful, it went free. So Unreal Engine is free to use. And recently, even more recently, they have waived a lot of their fees. Unless your game doesn't make $1 million, they won't take a commission of sales and as long as it earns $1 million in revenue, only then does Epic Games start coming back and saying, okay, this is how we're going to work the finances. So it gives developers a lot of breathing room, a lot of platform, because it gives them the Epic Games Store to go push their games on. So Epic's doing a lot to make games accessible, but that said, they're not the only ones. There is the other engine, which is Unity. Okay. Unity is used in a lot of games, and even their store is quite popular. Like some really popular games have been made in Unity. Like, as far as I remember, I can't remember over the top of my head because I've been studying Unreal's product base so much, but I can't think of. I think Among Us was Unity. I want to say Among Us was Unity, but quite a few other popular games have been made in Unity. Okay. So Unity is the other one. There's a couple of other smaller ones, but Unreal and Unity are the two. Yeah,
isn't that super powerful? And obviously, there's an apparent segue, an evident segue into the metaverse and NFTs and all those things, right? But isn't it absolutely astonishing how far technology's come since we were in A levels? Because that's where I know you from. 11 साल हुए होंगे. And now, all of a sudden, you realize that Photoshop skills and Lightroom skills aren't shit, because there's apps like I'm not saying they're not shit. I mean, I still use Photoshop and Lightroom, but there's apps like Luminar AI that takes care of all the photo editing for you. You just have to push sliders, and now Unreal and Unity are doing work like this. You think eventually the primacy of the story will come back into the forefront because everything else will just be taken care of? Like ek zamana hota tha where you could just learn how to do something and get by with that. It didn't matter that you didn't know how to tell the story. If you just learned the mechanics of storytelling, ek main misal de raha hu, if you just learned the mechanics of, say, you didn't have to necessarily be good at conveying a message through your photos. If you knew Photoshop, you could take, good photos, even if they were meaningless, and you could just get by with that. But now, because of these apps becoming so powerful, you think we'll go back to actually only saying something or doing something if you mean it?
It's interesting. I think everyone has it. They all have a different use for the app. People I have met use a particular tool for either storytelling or they use it to make money. But I think everyone, it's not binary is what I've learned. One guy could be a very good Photoshop user, very proficient at Photoshop, and then at one point he may use it to create content for himself, tell some sort of narrative or produce a narrative-driven product. I think those change over time. But I think when you want to tell a story, if you don't know the tool, or if you don't have tools that quickly get the job done, it becomes very difficult to tell your story.
Absolutely.
Jab wo software easy, it's becoming more and more easy. It becomes very easy and you have access or you have a way or you have someone to do it for you, then you can focus on telling the story. So I think that is changing. I think with software becoming easier, more and more people are going to get skills that were once difficult to find. Now I think it's not difficult for even younger person to go on YouTube and start learning basic Photoshop and use it in some way.
Yeah.
Go on Fiverr and then make an account and then start earning from it. But I think that has allowed more people to use it.
Sure.
And with more people, then you'll get people that are becoming very good at it, so that they can either earn money or they can then focus on what they want to do with it without having to think of how to do it.
Sure. Okay, at least that much, yeah. Okay, but so do you think then that the younger generation is losing appreciation? Like we have a certain appreciation for these things because हमारे पास एक ज़माने में नहीं थे, right? You think the younger generation takes some of this stuff for granted? Because they can just edit stuff on their phone, dude. The new phones are so powerful. I don't mean to sound really, really old. We're not really old. But एक ज़माना था, bro. एक ज़माना था where you couldn't even think about doing this stuff on phones that you do now.
Yeah, I think even we take stuff for granted.
Of
when
course.
I studied film in Australia, I went to it. We discussed it. I'd gone to Monash University. Wahan pe, when we saw the editing desk would dissolve, which is a simple shortcut in Premiere.
Yeah.
It was a very painstaking process to put it dissolve. You have one film on one side, the other film on the other side. So I think as things get easier, yes, one may say that you lose appreciation for how difficult it is to do it, but I also think it also enables you to, again, what I said earlier, focus on if your dependency is less on having a big team. You can then just take your iPad or an iPhone or any phone for that matter and just go shoot something, edit it, and put it out there. So that is what I think is very interesting now.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of tomorrow's game developers. I'm excited of how they are going to absolutely smash us as a generation, because they're going to come up with some really good stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
How they're going to steamroll us because they're going to come up with new ways of doing things. And, because tech is getting more accessible, hardware and devices are getting more powerful, and things are getting cheaper. I mean,
yeah.
Like some of these cameras on even an entry level phone, they come with stabilization. You don't need a stabilizer for it.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not going to look like something high end, but
for how much longer, dude? Have you seen the iPhone 13 की camera?
मैं वही तो बोल रहा हूँ. I'm just saying, now you're putting these, you're empowering everyone. So it's very interesting to see because as more people get empowered, I think more ideas are out there that can get made.
Sure.
Well, barrier to entry is going. Yes,
Yeah.
it's appreciation will go down, and I think not only does appreciation come into the mix, but also the monetary point that you place on something like this. Like, how do you price what someone's time is worth? If they're an editor, that is going to see big changes. Like it was at one point, of course, because it was you had to buy an editing desk, and that would be someone that is or an expensive Mac or expensive machine. Now someone can edit on a mid-tier laptop.
Yeah, dude.
So
The
why
M1 chips, dude?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I think the freelancers are going to have to either learn very, very effective ways of business strategy, like how do they charge for what they do, because it's getting easier to do that, and your clients can see that too, that it's getting easier to do it and turn around videos. So your deadlines are going to get shorter. Your ability to make work is going to get much more. It's going to increase.
Yeah.
So do you not adapt, or do you adapt and find other ways of pricing it? But I think definitely this is the biggest thing I'm noticing as more and more people learn it. The price point comes into question.
Sure, of course.
How do you price? Why am I paying so much for this? हर कोई कर सकता है, you know?
Yeah, इस तरीके से होता है, because it's just it'll become common knowledge eventually, is what you're saying. Okay.
I think so. I think so. Everyone is going to, because it's become very easy. Like what I opened with, if you want to learn something, like let's say I have this bottle of Coke Zero, and you as my client says, "Pay label change kar do." You can go search up on YouTube how to do that in Photoshop.
Yeah.
And in about 15 to 20 minutes, you will know how to do it depending on your skill level.
Yeah.
But that knowledge access has become easier. And I'm interested to see where that goes, because right now it's growing. But the only place I've seen it have the most effect is on what freelancers are paid.
Sure.
I think that is going to be interesting, how it kind of finds itself.
Fair.
So,
okay, Acha, again, I do this every time, and people get really upset. But okay, so we introduced you a little bit, so we know what you're doing right now.
people get upset at introductions.
Dude, people get upset that I don't do them the right way, because there's a right way to do them. मुझे नहीं पता, but there's a right way to do them. So we know what you're doing right now, alhamdulillah. But not completely, because you are also part of a business, and you're doing all that stuff as well.
Right.
We'll get into that, inshallah. But so, Nixa, you did A-levels. We did A-levels. And then you went to Australia.
Right. So my journey to Unreal, I guess that's the
question.
So I did my A-levels. I was terrible at my own A-levels.
Oh, please, dude.
No, really.
Dude,
really.
you were a fucking genius, man.
I'm not joking.
Okay, but I'm not joking
I had 1A in O-levels. You see that?
Same though.
1A.
I had 1A.
I don't even think I scored an A in my A-levels.
Neither did I. I did. I'm sorry.
I remember very distinctly, I make this joke wherever I go. I mean, when I was applying to Nixa for my A-levels, they didn't have students, and they still didn't want me. Because they're like, we need students, but not
you.
Not
Bro,
this.
I got rejected twice.
So and then luckily my mentors over at CS, they were very kind. They were vouching for me. Okay, no, this one's a bit strange.
थोड़ा weird है, लेकिन अच्छा है.
There's something wrong with this one. Just hedge your bets. It's very non-linear path going. So, and so after A-levels, I went to Australia, and at Monash, I struggled there too, because the dollar suddenly got way more expensive when I was there. So finished visual effects, studied VFX at Monash. Not really VFX, I studied communication. Usme se they taught After Effects and everything. Then I came back. I tried to stay there. I couldn't stay there because their immigration system had changed.
Okay.
Came back. I worked in the advertisement sector.
In Pakistan?
Oh,
dude, like ad agencies and stuff.
I did a little bit of that, and then I also did post-production.
Okay.
Which was just color grading. Okay. I set up like a little color grading like suite in my house, and then I would just color grade music videos, commercials. Done some stuff for quite a few, like almost 2 years of just color grading.
That's good work in and of itself.
It's nice. It was nice because there was only few of us doing color grading.
What year is this?
This is 2015, 16.
Okay, yeah, that must have been only a few.
There's only a few of us. There was 4 of us, and we were all friends, and we were all doing color work, freelance, just independent, not color as part of a studio. And then I had saved up enough and I wanted to immigrate. I wanted to run away again to Canada. And for that, I needed a master's degree. So I wrote to a few schools. I still couldn't afford it. And then this school in China, which was near Shanghai, उन्होंने बोला था कि we'll sort of give you a scholarship because we're going into film. We're making a film school. So we might have a use for you after you graduate. So they kind of helped me out there. Went there. It was a very, very, living in China was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting experience.
Contrary to what people would tell you, huh?
Well, I went in not without any expectations. Of course, I was very curious about this very, very old culture. It's got a huge history.
Yeah.
And then I went there. It was a great experience. Only because I had no expectations. Yes, it takes a little getting used to. I had to learn Chinese.
Wait, you're telling me you know Mandarin, Cantonese?
I wouldn't say I know Mandarin. There's 5 levels.
Okay.
I cleared level 3, which is enough to.
Yeah, dude.
It's enough to. I don't know how.
I'm pretty sure I'm a level 3 in Urdu.
I think level 5 is what you need to really, really like have business negotiations. So I'm far off from that.
Yeah.
But I could probably go to a Chinese restaurant and order food off the menu.
That's my metric, man.
So-
That's it right there. But wait, which one? Mandarin, Cantonese?
Mandarin.
Mandarin. That's cool, dude. That's cool,
yeah.
man.
So we learned that, and that was very nice. Got to experience a lot of things there, learned a lot of lessons, and then in China, I basically again couldn't stay on because I got a really good internship after my master's. So my master's was in video games. It was on the business of video games, microtransactions.
Okay.
How to make money from all the gamers.
Okay.
So Candy Crush, how to get people, like how to set the difficulty just right. कि वो बंदा bored now, and he feels happy about what he's doing.
Yeah, and the need to come back and stuff. Yeah. yeah.
So
But not giving him.
Yeah, so they built I interviewed a few big microtransaction successes that I consider, and then I got a very interesting internship at this place called Bang Bang.
Okay.
They do visual effects for movies, and it was a dream come true.
Okay.
Because I was sitting amongst my boss was this gentleman called Tim Crosby. Tim Crosby was the VFX supervisor for The Matrix.
Oh.
So he souped Matrix 1, Matrix 2. He's this Australian guy. He even yelled at me a few times. Usne, like he taught me. Yeah, he was very strict.
Hey, man.
Super strict. But he taught me a lot of important lessons, which was I couldn't code.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about programming. And I got this internship and they said, you need to learn Python. And I'm sitting in visual effects and I'm saying, you're used to visual effects being After Effects, Premiere.
Yeah.
And then I get told I have to learn Python in a very short, like Python for visual effects. So वो सब सीखा. It was a very, very interesting experience.
Difficult?
Very difficult because I had to quickly learn how it's used. It's not used in a fancy way. It's used for automation.
Mm-hmm.
So file naming, folder creation. It's used for a lot of automation.
Sorry.
Okay, anyway, वो किया. And then I found out I couldn't stay on. So then
why couldn't you stay on?
There were again some complications in the visa process, so that I couldn't stay on. And it was not really anyone's fault. It was just it was the timing. And then so I came back and then came back to back to my school. They said, okay, our film school's almost ready. Aake, come settle down here. And then COVID happened.
Oh.
So then I returned back to Pakistan, but because just before leaving, I was working in a lab. And this is kind of this weird story that happened. I was working in this lab, and this lab was working on VR applications, just papers and stuff. So we were working on, and I was using Unity, and Unity couldn't do what I wanted to do at that time. So I started learning Unreal.
Okay.
And I started learning Unreal. It was the first time I dabbled with it. I was very scared of learning Unreal, but then I went into it, quickly learned Unreal, and then I couldn't finish the project because I had to come back. But when I came back, I found out about this program that they have for the authorized instructor. I gave the exam. I studied it I studied as much as I could before. It was a timed exam. You had to do this online 60 MCQ quiz. I think it's 60 or maybe less. Quickly did it. And then I found out in 6 months I've cleared it. Now I'm founding a startup around it.
around
So,
it. That's it. That's the
Yeah.
trajectory. What's the startup?
The startup is going. It's called Reality Forge.
Reality Forge.
So like we went with Reality Forge because Unreal
yeah, dude.
reality, and then you're forging reality. We're teaching people how to forge realities. Usme kya hoga? We're going to very quickly, not very quickly, but I would say we are going to upskill and bring Unreal Engine training to everyone in Karachi, and of course the region, not just Karachi. We are gonna anyone interested in video games and the development of video games, or even Unreal Engine in general. We are going to help them learn quickly. It's not long courses. It's designed to come, bring you in, and train you on Unreal Engine, get you excited about Unreal Engine. And it's taught, I say game development, but we are designing the course in a very agnostic way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be primarily about Unreal Engine. We say games because that's one of the biggest uses right now. But it's going to train people interested in in real-time 3D, how to use Unreal Engine, how to use all its little components, how to build something inside Unreal Engine. And then towards the end of the course, I'm going to ask any learner where do they want to go with this? Do they want to go into cinema? So we then tell them how Unreal Engine can be used in cinema. Do they want to go into game development? Pakistan mein abhi esports वगैरह, it's games is picking up here.
Mm-hmm.
We visited a few amazing studios in Lahore and Islamabad, and it's the work they're doing is amazing.
Yeah.
So game development, or if you want to go into automotive, architecture, it's up to you. But we give them complete training on the engine so they can do whatever they want with it. So that tomorrow, if they get a job and they're asked to do something, they'll know at least how to find the answer, how to do that, but they'll know how to use the engine.
That's brilliant.
So it's very, very mentor focused Unreal Engine training for
Okay.
people in Karachi.
That's
and the region.
fantastic, inshallah. And Reality Forge.
Reality
It
Forge.
has an Instagram website.
Yeah, we have an Instagram, we have a website. The website is right now empty.
Huh.
We have just a survey because we're trying to get people that are interested in signing up for our first class, our first cohorts in the coming year, which is why I wanted to do this podcast before the year ended. You can go to the website realityforgeasia.com. You can go there. And there's just right now a sign up link, but it's got links to our LinkedIn, Instagram, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Click that. It'll just ask you some general questions. When can you come? What sort of hardware do you have? And just be getting our sort of learner base ready before we go into this full
Inshallah,
speed.
inshallah.
Yep.
And what's the minimum requirement for the hardware? मतलब बिल्कुल आप अगर सिंधी में बताएं मुझे बिल्कुल वाज़े सिंधी meaning बिल्कुल normal language.
I don't know Sindhi.
No, just plain language.
Yeah. If the computer can run Fortnite, it can get you. It can definitely do some stuff in Unreal.
Okay, and then tell me the specs. Then what are you looking for as a?
We are looking for anything north of for 1660 or GPU.
Okay,
So
that's not so bad.
It's not bad at all.
Not
Yeah.
horrible,
Unless
no.
you're going into high end stuff, which is like real-time ray tracing.
Okay.
You won't need, and that is again very specific use cases. We are teaching that.
Yeah.
We are teaching. If you look into architects, they're not going in for low end rendering.
No.
They go for very high end
Yeah,
rendering.
3D renders and all that.
Ha.
Yeah.
So that will require, of course, more expensive hardware.
Yeah.
But we are looking at avenues to bring good machines into our labs. And I want to make the labs, when we do start building
Inshallah,
our labs, because we've
inshallah.
just started this, I do want to make the labs a place that, tomorrow if you've done a course with us, you're in part of the family, and you want to do a render, you could come back and do it at the labs. Why not?
That's fantastic.
So I want to make it a place where people can constantly come back to learn new things.
Yeah, I think that is one of the salient features of education abroad is the respect that what's it called, alma mater bolte hain usko, aur kya bolte hain, now look I've lost the word, वो जो होते हैं जो graduate हो जाते हैं alumni. हाँ, the respect and but also the practical benefits of being an alumni of a certain university. Like for instance, I went to the University of Toronto, right? I can still access some features if I go back, right? And I think it'll be the same if you
I
went
want
back
that.
to Monash.
I do want that. I want it to be a place where even if somebody that I have taught has run into a problem in Unreal, they can go back to the Discord. We have a Discord as well. We're trying to make that Discord less of a place where people just go and get into arguments, because that is apparently Very
Bro,
common.
Pakistan hai, bro.
No. Like not even like for any Discord. I found quite a few Discords where they just like it's just the chat wall is just endless. But I want to make it a place where people can come and say, okay, hey, we have this project we're doing for the podcast, Kazi's podcast. How do we do it?
Yeah.
And we don't know where to start. And then we can either tell them what we know or we put them in touch with the people that do know.
Dude, that'd be powerful, man. And also that runs in the face of most proper business practices as they exist in Karachi, in Pakistan, where, the old idiom of ain't shit for free stands. You're giving away, मतलब ठीक है, course होगा, course में आप पढ़ाएंगे, but then एक indefinite period, मतलब unconditionally आप वो वापस कभी भी आ गए, आप बोलोगे हाँ कोई मसला नहीं है ये लो.
Yeah. We want to make that. We want to
super
make that.
powerful, man.
Also, the courses. One of the things that we're trying to do is it's less about just giving them administering a course. It's more about mentorship because maybe somebody is good at a certain part of it without realizing it.
Sure.
We have two types of modeling. We have hard surface and we have organics. So hard surface would be like a robot, a robot dog. An organic would be like an actual dog. Hard surface is like very machined components, very hard. Like it's called hard surface because think of anything like a transformer would be a hard surface robot.
Like a Tron type world.
It's like metal, right?
Yeah.
So some modelers are better at hard surface than they are at modeling creatures.
I wouldn't. Acha dekho, from a complete complete layman, right? I would imagine that hard surface is just always easier than organic. No,
it is, but some people are just generally extremely good at even though these models are not even real.
No,
but they'll make it look real with the way they design it.
Okay.
So form following function. Maybe the wheels are at the back because the engine's at the back, or they even at a hard surface level. Because organics, okay, you can get away with a lot. Like maybe you're crafting or you're modeling a zombie whose brain is back here,
sure,
or something. I don't know. He's mutant.
Yeah.
But hard surface requires a little bit of like a thought process.
Okay.
So they're both very different, but. This is something I would love if it happened, where if I see somebody learning modeling and I see like a girl or a guy or any student for that matter is naturally better at organic modeling. So I would tell them, why don't you learn this tool? Because this is going to help you because you have a natural sub seeko, but have a kind of a home ground. Like for me, if someone asked me to model, I could do hard surface, but I couldn't do organics. Like I can't sculpt a creature.
Okay.
Which is why I've never been able to use any digital sculpting tool. Okay. I can try.
Oh yeah.
It'll probably look like something from a zombie video game.
Fair enough.
Or like maybe a gingerbread man. It'll look like something like that, but
something in the middle. Say
I can't do it.
Fair.
But yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Dude, I think that's awesome. I also think you're crazy, but you've always been crazy.
Huh.
I think, but dekho, isn't craziness just being ahead of your time? Because you always like I told you.
I think I'm behind my time.
Listen to me.
I'm not joking.
Listen to me, bro. There's some of us that are stuck in the past, like me, right? And then there's other people like you who live in the future.
No, I'm not living in the future. Look, okay, so I wouldn't call myself crazy. It's more like, okay, I learned so whenever I run into a challenge, I didn't have the attention to properly understand how to make the most of that. I learned that later. When I was in school, I used to hate exams.
Sure.
But exams is on one level a great way to test if you've understood what's being taught in the class.
A standardized way, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but think of it as like a task. Your task is to clear this exam. I understand, okay, my appreciation of like certain things has changed because I was always experimenting, even like in when we were applying for NICSA, I was playing around with at that time, I remember we were making the logos of the flags and I was doing some really bad stuff on Photoshop. But it was just interest in strange things that I would read on the internet. I'd be like,
12 years ago, tinkering with Photoshop was ahead of your time. That's what I'm saying.
I even made music. Do you remember?
I do remember, dude. I do remember.
I found this tool called Fruity Loops. And I said, okay, this looks cool. Let's just...
Man, I'm telling you this, right? क्योंकि देखो इस चीज़ की इतनी कदर करनी चाहिए because people like you is what pushes us forward. You know, आज अगर मैं देखो है माशाल्लाह से एक मैं बात बोल रहा हूँ just hear me out ना, मैं बात बोल रहा हूँ. आज अगर मैं बैठ के म्यूजिक करता हूँ, राइट, इट्स कॉमन क्योंकि हर कोई करता है ब्रो. इट्स सिंपल, राइट. आज अगर मैं वीडियोस बना रहा हूँ, but doing it 12 years ago was like you would open yourself up to actual serious criticism, and not only criticism, criticism from people who didn't give a shit, but concern from people who did, you know, because they're like, yaar, isko doctor ya engineer banna tha, isko paise kamane the, ye kya kar raha hai?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so I just think it needs to be appreciated, and that's why you remember from the get go, you were like, yaar, main kya aake baat karunga podcast ke bare mein?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, it's not about what you're gonna say. It's never about that. I don't think it is. Sir Bilal, another excellent example. He's been way ahead of his time. He was so ahead of his time that he's relevant right now. And I'm pretty sure he'll be, inshallah, Allah unko hayati de, I'm pretty sure he'll be relevant. You know, matlab, jitne safed ho gaye aur safed ho jayenge mere baal, he'll still be relevant because of that future forward thinking, and because of what you've just espoused as well, where you're like, the point is, obsolete to hame hona hai, but the willingness to embrace it, I think that's powerful, right? Because we see Pakistan में a lot of that other shit where we're like, यार इनको फिलहाल दबा दो, हमारा टाइम अच्छा गुजर जाए, जो हमसे बड़े होते हैं, जो in power जो भी हैं, right? Instead of facilitating the youth, because if you facilitate, then you at least get on the right side of social change. Social change is going to happen. Social change is a train that will run you over. It doesn't matter. You cannot outrun it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Embrace it, and then just get excited about if everyone is changing, adapting, learning new things. We discover new avenues of stuff that can be created. But we have to be excited about that, not worried about it. I know it's very natural to be concerned that, somebody faster is going to come along, take my projects. It is going to happen.
But bro, think about it now. People like Sir Bilal, or not even people. I've not met another Sir Bilal. जो सीधी बात है. But Sir Bilal was surrounded by you and Mufaddal Marvi and Zain Umar and all Ariba Kamal. Just these. Or am I missing people? Obviously, I'm missing people now.
Yeah,
off the
a
top
lot
of
of
my
people. But no, I know what you mean. Like,
you guys were faster, younger. You know,
all the other people that you mentioned,
yeah,
all did really well academically. I shouldn't be in that list,
bro. Yeah, dekho, fuck off. All right, that's what I have to say to that. But they all of you guys were just so quick, right? Imagine if Sir Bilal अपनी आना बीच में रख लेते और बोलते यार इनको जो है ना, let's just give myself a little bit of a boost, इनको दबा देते. He could have. It would have been very easy for him to crush you guys. You know, confidence wise, you know, but instead embracing that. And the same thing for you, where maybe someone's just not cut out to be an accountant anymore. Hamara ye muashra, our society is still a little beholden to those conventions of accountant, engineer, doctor, right?
Right.
Maybe there's a kid somewhere out there listening to this, or you know, in one of your classes, jisko numbers nahi samajh aate. For the life of him, he cannot pass an accounting exam, right? But storytelling makes sense to him. Storytelling, world building makes sense to him. How is that not intelligence? But facets of this society will still tell him, that that's not intelligence, dude. That's just hobby. That's a hobby, or you know, whatever. Isko aap side mein shauq pura kar le, lekin asal mein aapne accounting padhni hai. And then someone like you comes along and you're like, no, you don't understand. You have the gift, dude. You're it. You're gonna get us forward, you know, and you need to double down on that stuff. I think that's super powerful, man. I think that's everything, you know.
I also think that so my view on that is that it's very yes, you can be interested in stuff like telling stories.
Yeah.
It's amazing because maybe something doesn't appeal to you, something does. I do think that we need to encourage people to fully commit themselves to an experiment. So if they're going to go and try and tell a story, write. And not just write. Really go on the web, go read scripts, writing screenplays or stuff. Like really, and give it a shot.
Yeah.
By that, of course, I don't mean quit your job and in your spare time. Just say, look, I'm learning how to write. or if you're learning film editing or making films, pick any. Start with your phone camera.
Yeah, but don't half-ass it, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Don't.
I'm saying is properly experiment, guys, so that you can understand. Because see, making films is not just. I say on one level it is taking your phone and going and shooting something, but when you make a film, a lot of people are coming together. There's a lot of coordination. It's difficult. Any filmmaker, it's a lot of effort. Like 2 to 3 days of constant shooting. Sleep is never there.
Or 2 to 3 days for like a few hours, a few minutes. Sorry, a few minutes of footage.
And it's difficult. You're not getting everyone's tired. You got to make. So you got to go and experiment, even if that is for you, right? I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but fully commit yourself to some nice experiments, because at the end of the day, even if you don't become a filmmaker, you've at least learned a little bit to know what it's about. You can have a conversation with someone about it. You can appreciate the art a little bit better. So I'm saying that is, so why I said this is coming back to what you said. When I was in A levels and O levels for that matter, I used to just try, because school, मुझे समझ बिल्कुल नहीं आता था what was happening in class, because of my rampant or like completely minuscule attention span. I would come home and I remember playing a lot of Final Fantasy. I loved this video game.
Dude.
But I wanted to know the music behind this, the mood, the cinematics, how is this told? I would go on Google, I'd write, okay, what's the tool to edit? At that time it was Sony Vegas. Sony made an editing software called Sony Vegas.
All right.
So I went and I downloaded it and I started recording myself playing Counter-Strike. And I would edit those videos and I said, okay, I put a soundtrack on it and I would just upload it. And then I started dabbling with creating content quite early, just because it was a way of sort of taking, like, I was bored of traditional methods of education.
Sorry.
But these things seemed very interesting to me because they were difficult. For me. You get what I'm saying? So they were
challenging.
They were challenging for me.
Yeah.
They may not be challenging to somebody else that's just not interested in it, but I was.
Yeah.
I was interested in learning what makes Sony Vegas, or how can I edit, how can I get that recording of me playing Counter-Strike into on the timeline? How can I put a sound there? Why won't this sound play? Why will that sound play? So sometimes it was very challenging, but that has enabled me now to where I had to really commit myself a couple of years ago and learn Unreal. It was why, and I would just keep writing. So I would just keep writing whatever I've learned, just keep writing it. And then at some point, you start solving problems. You answer one question. Okay, I've put this on the timeline. Okay, how do I put a song or a sound? Okay, I've put it there. Then comes the next problem. How do I export? How do I save it? Once you've done enough problems, then, it makes sense. And stuff starts, and then you stop worrying about how you're going to do it. And then you start wondering, what story can I tell?
So yeah, you start figuring out the why.
And that proficiency is very nice, because I think once you've learned to learn, or once you've learned how to problem solve in one tool, it all kind of starts making sense. Like Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, Premiere, they all start making some sense. You start, like most people today, and this never happened before, are aware of the fact that if you need a logo with a transparent background, they need a PNG.
Yeah, dude.
सबको पता है.
ये पता है लोगों को.
Transparency के साथ PNG आएगा. They'll all be like, oh, we need a PNG. Nobody knows what PNG. I mean, there are people, I shouldn't say it's over, but most people don't know PNG stands for Portable Network Graphics.
I didn't know that.
But PNG, maybe I got that wrong. It'd be funny if I did. But full confidence in a portable network. But
it counts, dude.
My point is that now people are asking those questions.
You know what's interesting is you said this a little bit ago, कि यार देखो, you can go on YouTube and you can learn this stuff. I think it's immensely powerful when education now becomes function based, right? So YouTube पे जाके या आपको जैसे अगर आप मुझे बोलोगे यार Photoshop सीखना है, तो the first thing you ask is not कि Photoshop के साथ Photoshop कितने अरसे में cover हो जाएगा, quote unquote. What do you want to do with Photoshop?
Exactly.
And then you can learn specific skills, right?
Exactly.
So for instance, PNG, if I'm a photographer, I know PNG के साथ X amount of or Y amount of things I can do, right? Similarly, I know why a raw image is preferable to a JPEG. dynamic range, colors, so on and so forth. I don't need to know a lot more to get my job done.
Exactly.
If I'm a hobbyist or if I have time, if I have the liberty, sure, I can continue to grow and continue to increase my knowledge. That's all fine. But I think one of the things that is most powerful about this generation and about how information is available now is आपको काम करने जैसा बना देता है वो बहुत जल्दी, right? So no one's saying I'm a Photoshop master, but they're saying I can do X or Y task and you can pay me for it.
Yes, and that's what we're aiming to do. So over at the startup, over at Reality Forge, we are trying to give you the knowledge in as little as time as possible, but in a way that you're very, very proficient at the tool. Not just, yes, if someone, this is that last part of the course where they want to become an automotive visualizer or something. But the whole point is what you just said. Quickly teach somebody what they need to learn and then give them problems. I'm a big fan of teaching that way, where I don't teach everyone the entire capability of, because I teach Blender. Mm-hmm. Blender is used in 3D animation.
Yeah.
I love it because it's a free tool. It's completely free.
Interesting.
And it's very powerful. It's getting increasingly powerful. And it's now fine. Pehle people used to give it a lot of, you'd always get like people saying, oh, what Blender's this free tool. It's not Maya, it's not Max, it's not Cinema 4D. But now people are using Blender and they're doing some phenomenal things.
Isn't
with
DaVinci Resolve also free?
DaVinci's free, but DaVinci is used for color grading.
But comparison वही है ना कि DaVinci Resolve has better colors than Premiere sometimes. You know?
So DaVinci, Unreal, Blender, all these tools are going free because people are realizing that that the more people that use this, aage jaake when he's in a studio, he's going to ask for your tool because he's used it, and that's where then you go into enterprise, sort of like more like business licensing. But so many avenues to learn. When we were younger, we would never think about having expensive software for free. Bro, a lot of these tools, like DaVinci Resolve is free. That thing is a powerhouse. It can edit, it can do color, and it's free. And it's a great way to learn. Of course, it has limitations for the paid version, but it's quite powerful. Unreal's free. Yeah. Blender's free. Blender is phenomenal what it does in the free version.
Yeah.
It can make it. There's some great movies that are called Blender Open movies. They're like almost Pixar level stuff coming out of Blender. So when I teach Blender to students at the university, I don't give them all the tools. I would give them a task, and then they'd run into a problem. Shaun, how do we make this thing red?
Yeah.
Then I'll explain how to texture something or how to put a material on something. But if you just tell them, oh, this is what materials are, this is what they don't have a use case for each thing. And I always because I learned that way. Everything I learned was through a problem.
Sure.
So I tell them, all right, guys, you need to make a commercial for a phone.
Okay.
First question I'll get is, some kids will say, how do we animate the phone or a cube? Some guys will go really basic and say, but how do I even model the phone?
Yeah.
Do I model this first? Where do I start? So those questions are great because that answers to those questions starts your learning pathway.
I think that's brilliant, dude. And again, हम एक और piece of information खा गए. हमने ये बताया कि आप पढ़ाई करा रहे हो. Do you want to say where?
So yeah, so I currently at the moment I am teaching at IoBM.
Okay.
So I teach in I teach as part of their I think it's a BS in media sciences.
Okay.
So I teach over there, and then I teach mainly in 3 areas.
Okay.
So there's 3D animation. I use Blender for that. Post-production, so which is VFX, green screen, and now hopefully very soon we'll be providing courses on Unreal Engine.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
And IoBM, isn't that the one university that has a brilliant media lab?
Very. Our media lab is really good.
State of the art.
It's really nice. It's really nice.
मैंने सुना था किसी से ये.
It's very it's good. It's very it's a good shooting floor, good equipment. Great students. Met some really, really cool people here.
That, dude? How's that, from being a consummate student to the point where you've studied in now at least, mashallah, say 3 different countries, all sorts of education systems, all sorts of fields, going from a very traditional IGS, CSE, 100% exam to the Australian system, and then going all the way to China. How is it now to come back and start teaching people?
So I started teaching before I left from China. So what happened was I was on a project for color, and the director came in and he said, do you want to teach? I do some courses over at Karachi University. Aake wahan teach the kids how to do color. And I went there and I did some courses there. And then through that, around the same time, I was also doing some courses over at Habib University.
Okay.
So Habib, Karachi, and at that time I also did some courses over at IoBM.
Okay.
So I did teach for quite a bit, but not really teaching. This was just one-off units.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in China, I did get to see the marking aspect because over there I had to TA. That was good. And now having come back with all these experiences, just the light level of teaching before China, and then when I was in China, of course, I was providing help with the kids in the program, like After Effects, Premiere training. But now come back, I design the whole unit. I mark, I admit it's my classes. So it's great. It's great because I think I was a very bad student, and Sir Bilal will definitely verify, or any teacher for that matter. I was a very bad student, so I try to bring that. To my classes.
Dude, that'll make you a great teacher, I think.
And the reason and the way I do that is it's not really difficult. When I'm teaching, I try and envision myself being one of the front row kids.
Okay.
And I'm constantly asking myself, am I bored? Okay, like I literally. So at some times I've been asked to teach 3 hours.
Okay.
And I teach for 45 minutes. And the guys, like even my program director in China, she knew this. She's like, yes, he's going to teach for 45. But not because I don't want to teach. Because I want to quickly get the knowledge out there and then start an exercise. So the actual instruction in the 3 hours is maybe just 45 minutes.
Sure.
The rest is all practice.
Sure.
And then maybe one person would be like, how do I do this? And then somebody else will answer that. And then they're all helping one another. It doesn't always work, but I prefer to keep... structure is great. Don't get me wrong. Structure is great, but I prefer to stay away from a PPT with reading off slides. I prefer to just say, okay, this is what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
How does everyone feel about that? You guys know what we're talking about? Okay, we don't.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what we did last class. Refresher. Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay.
Then let's learn.
Okay.
So I want to speed up the instruction process and then let them spend more time on the practice because they can practice at home. Sure. But if they run into a problem, I'm there.
Yeah.
So I want that time. So that's why I try to imagine that I'm the learner and I'm just going like, oh God, why is this guy?
Why does he drone
like
on?
you're just teaching, or like you're having a class and you're thinking, yaar, khana mein kya khaunga? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want because then no one's learning. Then then the same student is going to come back to me. Sir, what do you explain? So I prefer to make the class interesting by providing like very, very less instruction on whatever's being taught, and then I go straight into practice.
So essentially what you're saying then is you would prefer कि आपके जो students हैं वो passive now. They're engaged.
And you'll always find passive. I think to expect that everyone is going to be engaged is a bit unrealistic.
Sure.
I mean, there's always going to be someone that's not interested. He's just there for the pass.
Yeah.
But that's what I also do now is I tell the ones that are just there for the pass, okay, no, I'll pass you. Don't worry, leave. It's okay. It's all good. I prefer having a classroom full of people that are just excited to be there.
Yeah.
Because I've been in some workshops from some really phenomenal design schools, and every person in that class is at the top of their game, and they are just there to learn.
Yeah.
They're sponges. They're absorbing.
Yeah.
And I think that is good because it's such a powerful class because everyone does great things because everyone's there to learn, and it's a master class for juniors. So it's I want to bring that sort of model in where like I'm not calling myself the master of anything, but as long as it's a class where everyone is excited about what they're learning and interested in what they're learning, progress will be good in my opinion.
Yeah. What then do you have to say now, since you've just now said, you've admitted to this, that you were originally a content creator yourself. What do you say to the kind of content that's being created and consumed?
I looked at the camera. I was like, good question.
ये सही जा रहा है. What do you say to the kind? Because obviously, as someone much like yourself who has a short attention span and is very critical, right? Where I'll shut a video off. अगर मुझे droning लग रही है, तो I'll just
you
switch it off, right?
Yeah.
What do you say to the kind of content that's being created and consumed?
I think it is brilliant.
Yeah.
So I used to, of course, I used to not like the fact that we're getting into such high speed content, right? We've gone from TV shows that were much longer, 45-minute episodes, down to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The episode. So keep one thing in mind. These episodes, their plot is concluding for that episode in 20 minutes. 40 minutes used to be, so it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. But similarly, movies are very long. Movies again. So I think what is interesting is because it's become so easy to create content and because there's so many avenues like TikTok, Instagram, now it's the real test to see how can you create content that keeps people engaged. Initially, I used to be very critical of hyper casual games. Right? These are games like that just get you to press things and
Candy
buttons. Candy Crush, hyper casual games, and extremely. I didn't quite understand what this was. I used to think that was, but then we were in a discussion with some people over in this game studio in Lahore. But we were discussing and he had explained to me, he said, don't you then think that hyper casual is the hardest medium to produce for? Because it requires you to come up with, it's so easy to make. So there's so many of them.
Yeah.
The challenge is on you to make the best one.
Perfectly competitive markets, It
is.
Yeah.
And then I realized, I'm like, okay, so that's what I've now, my view on it is now changed that yes, it's easy to make. Yes, there's a lot of content out there. You can really pick up your phone and make or compete in one of these challenges, this challenge on TikTok or that challenge on TikTok.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to see what people are doing to stay creative.
And you better believe there's people out there creating those same videos with a red, and then there's that.
And that's so you'll find so many things that just amaze you, and then you just go, wow, okay, like the wow.
Yeah.
So many times I've just gone wow in the pandemic, like, oh my god, wow.
Yeah.
Like ye bhi ho raha hai.
Yeah.
But
do you have designs because obviously yours is an educational concern. One of the quickest ways to disseminate information is YouTube and so on and so forth. Right? Is that something that is at least in the works?
So our classes, you mean like, okay. So our classes are going to be hybrid.
Right, okay.
So the online learning component is a big thing. It's not just going to be in labs and offline.
Okay.
I do want to do so. SN and myself, we have two sort of events that we want to have outside of the classroom. One is a game jam, and the other one
game jam.
Yeah, game jam, where people can come, make teams, and they make a video game in a set amount of time.
Wow!
They all come together. They make teams of 4 or 5, and they all come and they make video games. They go away, they create the game, and then they come back, and then there's like an awards night.
The same day, or
no, over a period of time.
Oh,
because
wow, okay.
If somebody doesn't know, then we'll provide workshops. Ye Seekho, Unreal Seekho. And then there'll be maybe a workshop on writing stories for video games, because it's very different writing a story for a video game versus a film, because in the game it isn't linear. The character has choices.
Yeah.
So you have to write for options.
Yeah.
So it's very different. So writing, how do you write that? What is the hook? Designing the UI, all that. So we give them all these courses, so they don't have to know any knowledge before. Come, make a team. We'll give you the courses. Go make a game, come back, and if your game is good, if the judges vote, judges bhi hum koshish karenge ke industry se ho. And if the game is good and the judges think it's a nice game that you quickly mocked up together, then we give you a little award. And then you've also met other people, you made friends, and you can start. If you ever run into a problem, you met someone at this game jam that might help you down the line. The other event that we want to do is a little bit of a sort of a mini conference. We want to have little mini conferences where people like yourself come talk about content creation, video tech, game tech. We want to showcase some of the game developers in the country. and of course people that are also making games abroad. Abhi recently conference हुआ है. It was held by this company called Epiphany.
Okay.
It was called GameX. It was very, very large.
यहाँ पे?
It was a virtual conference, and Summer and her team put this together. It was I believe 2 people, Summer and Asad. They kind of at Epiphany, and it was a very big conference. Some really good speakers. It was a lot of speakers,
Yeah.
but good discussions. People were talking about the metaverse, and it was a conference that was kind of from here.
Yeah.
So I think I do want to do something like that, but I want to, again, my stuff is not really, I want to focus. Reality Forge's conferences would mainly be about come see what developers are doing,
Yeah.
and see how they're solving problems. But yeah, we do want to have streams where we're not talking, we're dabbling with Unreal, and somebody can tune in and say, you're doing this wrong, Shaun. Oh, bhai, you karo. Or something like that.
I think that'd be cool, dude.
So Discord is a big thing. We're trying to get our Discord up and running. We're trying to get our YouTube up and running. Where little streams, little videos, showcases for people that did fun things in the game engine.
Okay.
So definitely a big component.
You said NFTs, and you said metaverse. and then readily I said NFTs. What do you say, man, to the metaverse?
I think it's going to be, it's great for us for the simple reason, Unreal will have a big place in the metaverse, because Unreal is used to craft content for VR and AR.
Yes.
So when people want to develop things for the metaverse and they can't code C++ or they can't code high level programming,
which is safe to say that's 95% of the
which
people.
is a lot of people, and then they can quickly make something inside of Unreal and package that and deploy that to a VR headset. And that is basically what the metaverse is. So Unreal is going to be a great avenue into the metaverse development. And me and Ehsan keep getting asked about this. Okay, we want to build a team for the metaverse. How do we talk to you guys about getting training for Unreal Engine? Because once we're trained on Unreal, we can now start building. So again, questions and the problems. How do you build for the metaverse?
Sure.
You build for the metaverse. Oh, what is the metaverse?
Sure, yeah.
It's in VR or in AR.
Yeah.
How do I build things for VR and AR? Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
How do I learn Unreal Engine? We can help with that. So it's all questions and answers. But I think Unreal for us, Unreal is going to have a huge place in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Abhi ek conference hua hai, NVIDIA makes graphic cards.
Yeah.
They just did the real-time conference, the RTC. Wahan pe yahi baat ho rahi thi. Fashion in the metaverse, NFTs, and lo and behold, one of the bigger names of this conference was Unreal Engine, because they were there talking about how IKEA is using it, how a lot of these developers are using AR for pushing products and improving the customer experience. But sure, brand people working on the brand will come up with the concepts, but I want to give people skills to create these products, and I think Unreal is going to be a great avenue into this. Not the only avenue, but it's going to be a very, 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 very powerful avenue into this, an accessible avenue into this.
Do you conceive of a future where, जैसे आज अगर मैं Facebook page बना लेता हूँ, Instagram में आता हूँ, 15 years ago this was not conceivable, right? So it's not the same learning curve. Given, right? Of course, right? But yeah, जैसे आज मैं एक photo edit कर लेता हूँ, एक video बना लेता हूँ, and that goes on a platform. The platform is YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, what have you. With Facebook and all now evolving into the metaverse, do you think eventually, you have, I think, answered that question partially as I speak it, do you think eventually just the average consumer will have enough knowledge to just create their own I don't know, subplot in the world, as it were, in the metaverse, where you'll just give them enough information कि जैसे अब YouTube channels होते हैं, वहाँ पे channels नहीं होंगे, वहाँ पे क्या होंगे, worlds होंगे, this is Kazi's world,
right.
So on and so forth.
The Kaziverse.
Yes, the Kaziverse of the multiverse, the Kazi Akbar and the multiverse of madness.
Yeah,
that's taken, no? That's not.
No, I don't think so. You should
Multiverse of
look into
Madness. Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay. I thought the Kaziverse.
The Kaziverse should not be taken. Please don't take it.
So so your question is about
So is it like, just for instance, some great creators these days, Irfan Janejo, Muru, they have their own YouTube channels, right? What is the equivalent in the metaverse, do you think, of, or is the equivalent in the metaverse of a YouTube channel like Muru's World or Janejo's World, where they just create a world? You know, it's something.
It's something. Actually, it's very interesting you asked this. There's a version of this already out there. It was on the PlayStation 3, and it used to be called PlayStation Home.
Okay.
And I think it was a great idea. What it was a space. So it was a game. You had to launch it.
Okay.
But it had like your room.
Okay.
And you can add things. You can design your room, but people can come visit. And so, depending on things you'd have in the game, you could add like an arcade machine into your home, but people could come visit.
Yeah.
Other players, you could visit other people's spaces. This is what I think. I think spaces, your space. Right now, what is this space? If you think about it, it's someone's YouTube page.
Mm-hmm.
It is someone's Facebook page,
Or Instagram.
right? Or Instagram. It's their page.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to be done there if you think about it. Like, whereas, like, let's say instead of going to the Instagram page of Muru or Adidas or Red Digital Cinema, you go to their space in the metaverse. Of course, this would be in VR or like maybe through a web app, but it's almost like going into this limitless world.
Yeah.
You can create a store for their products. Or maybe you can't pick up a camera, but maybe everyone's videos are on like little screens in this, and it's almost like you're walking into an wo jo hai, TV ke showroom nahi hote.
Yeah.
So you're walking and then you can watch each video. It is ultimately, it's still going to come down to the same process of you're watching a video.
Yeah.
It's all about how you're getting to the video. Right now, it's you go to youtube.com, you have that infinite little cubes of videos. And then you click on one video and then the video plays, then you likely click full screen, then it goes. That is being replaced with you drop down into this world with a lot of stores and you see one. Now, instead of that wall of squares, that is changed into spaces.
Yeah.
So now you go into any one space and then I actually was told about this interesting quote. When you're looking for a book in the library, I don't know how many people still go to libraries for books. The most interesting book isn't that one, but the one next to it. Because subject same hai.
Yeah.
The books are all in the same. So if you're going for one type of book, the books on the left and the right of the book you're looking for are also equally as interesting, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So maybe you go to someone's space. Maybe you go to Irfan Janejo's space for some particular type of, but there's more things there that you'll find. Because spatial viewership is going to be something that I think the metaverse is going to try and experiment with. Because that's interesting. You walk into a space for something. You can't really do that on YouTube right now, besides the column on the right for related videos. And that's also not, or maybe, pehle wo hota tha when the video would end. I think it still happens where they kind of overlay right? But those are like, do you want to keep watching?
Yeah.
This is what else is being offered.
Yeah.
That is getting upgraded into now you're in a spatial, you're watching a video, but you can also look around as viewer.
Dude.
So I don't know.
Yeah. No, nobody knows, man.
What's going to happen? The biggest entry point barrier that I see is these devices are expensive.
For now. Right.
So the Oculus or the HTC Vive, they're pricey.
How pricey is pricey?
They're quite pricey. I don't even know the current price for it, but they're very difficult to find and they're intensive. Or ek aur bhi masla ye hai is that they require a room. You can't just do VR sitting in like a cubicle or like a space the size of a passenger seat, right? Unless you design the experience. Now we're talking about experience design.
Yeah.
So you design the experience that the person doesn't need to walk around.
Yeah.
He can sit and he can just move with the left controller and the right controller.
Yeah, or just go full Matrix and not do anything.
And not just go to sleep. And then you're just
go
like,
to sleep, dude. So, think about what we're talking about, man. And how is it not a possibility?
We don't. That's why I'm saying I know what they're trying to do. I'm aware with because I was researching AR and VR, and my paper was talking about one of the papers I'd written, which hasn't been published yet, is about using the differences in targeting.
Okay.
So when you point a laser pointer, a virtual pointer in VR, बहुत आसान है because your space is completely your vision is completely monopolized by the goggles. Do the same thing in AR. It's very difficult because that information is overlaid on the real world.
Okay, let me just go to the bathroom really quickly.
Okay.
And then we'll have you explain, because you said virtual reality, then you said augmented reality.
Yeah.
I know, I understand it cursory. I understand, I have a cursory understanding of it.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay.
but you know, I think that's important.
Okay.
So,
You just don't sleep.
I don't know, because I've been doing this thing where I do a vlog every day. So वो पूरा दिन जो है I try to collect footage, and then at night I edit.
Wow. I used to be like that, pata hai? I used to not sleep. I used to sleep very little bit.
Now?
Like 4 hours a day. Now I need my 8.
Yeah, you need your 8?
Yeah.
Dude, 2 days ago, my body just gave out on me. And my body was like, cool, आपको ये करना है ना? I was up till like 11:30 a.m. मैंने video upload किया, and then I just sat down. And I was like, all right, let's get the rest of the day started, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know why I was thinking that was going to happen. And उससे पिछले 2-3 दिनों तक I was, there was an amalgamation of just a surplus of fatigue. I wasn't sleeping, right? 2 घंटे, 1 घंटा, 3 घंटे, ऐसे सो गए. I was like just chugging Monsters and Red Bulls or whatever. It's horrible. It's horrible. Right?
Unhealthy.
It's just
very unhealthy.
Just fucking toxic, dude. Like with myself, like literally. So Beral, so I sit down. I just literally sat down in front of a TV, in front of TV, and I was just like, "Achha, chalo, theek hai. Just take a minute, and let's get ready for the rest of the day." I pass out, dude. It's 10:30. It's 8:30. Oh, it's 10:30 a.m. When I sit down, and next thing I know, it's 8 p.m. It's just like my body's like, "Cool story, bro. Watch this." It just shuts down everything. Happens, man.
Now I sleep a lot more.
Yeah.
I need my 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
where do you think? So okay, let's just get into the augmented reality and virtual reality.
Yep.
But before that, let me just ask you this, because a lot of people go through this. It's obviously to do with existential angst and all these things. Where do you think that ability to then just relax came from? You know, where you were like, let's just sleep. Versus what was keeping you up, for instance?
Learning. I just wanted to constantly be working on something, because I was trying extremely hard to upskill as fast as I could.
Okay.
With anything.
Okay.
But then I realized that I wasn't creating anything. I was learning, but I wasn't creating content. I wasn't creating the stories in my head. They were just on paper.
Mm-hmm.
That occurred, but then I also started getting sick because I was just not sleeping, and because I wasn't sleeping well enough, I wasn't thinking as much. As like the everything had clearly taken a backseat, because I was learning. I couldn't learn well, and then I still didn't sleep. I continued this sort of unhealthy 4-hour sleeping, 5-hour sleeping routine for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I've come back to Pakistan and I decided to start the company, and I was teaching at a university, did I really say, okay, now it's time to really, I've learned the tools, now it's all about retaining, not frying my brain so that I'm to the point that I can't retain anything. I started experimenting with meditation.
Okay.
I started looking into general mental health improvements, and that all it started with eating well and sleeping well.
That's it, dude.
And I've started doing that now.
Yeah.
I was extremely unhealthy when I returned. I was at one point, I remember I was about 48 kilograms. I was very skinny.
Dude, that's not good at your height,
very,
man.
very skinny. And then I wasn't sleeping, but then I said, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to sleep better. And it's been good. It's been good.
Alhamdulillah.
Of course,
you look great.
Sorry, thank you. One of the downsides is, of course, when your friends call you to play a game of Call of Duty.
You're in bed. I'm sorry.
12:30. I'm just like,
I'm taking care of me.
I need to sleep. But at the flip side, you're up earlier, and I think that 7 a.m. I know people watching this are going like, yeah, no.
Yeah, ये कौन से बुड्ढे लोग हैं?
But yeah, but that morning, when you have a good night's sleep, that 1 or 2 hours in the morning, you get so much work
It's
done
golden.
before
It's golden. That's it.
your body does. You'll get bored later as well. If you
Yeah.
just constantly, you wake up and you just hammer something in the morning,
Yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah, I think so. A couple of things about first your return. Huh? No, get it. It's fine. The first thing, obviously. So the story you've told me about, coming back and then finally deciding to forego or actually just treat yourself a little better.
Yeah.
There's this interest. So diasporic literature is one of the other things that I studied, and one of the stories that we read, or one of the books that we read, was called The Return.
The Return.
The Return.
Okay.
It's about this Indian kid going to England, going to America to study, right? And his experiences in diaspora and how he became constipated. He could not, for the life of him, go to the bathroom throughout his time in America, which spanned years.
I'm
right?
trying so hard not to laugh.
Dude, I mean, listen, it's an allegory for our experiences, for both of our experiences.
He became
Constipated. Yeah, you could not sleep in diaspora. I ballooned up to 120 kilos, became really fat in diaspora, right? And then we came, and I'm just saying, allegorically speaking, when you leave unfinished business and when you try to uproot yourself, right? There's consequences. There is meta consequences in your, in your soul, in your spirit. There's consequences, right? And that's why I think both of us came back. I was gone for 9 odd years, dude. I had no plans of coming back. I had a house, everything. मैं settled था,
Yeah.
And still to this day, there's times जब यहाँ पे बिजली नहीं होती है, जब यहाँ पे एक बारिश होती है, just one spell of rain and
the city's offline.
Offline तो जो है मुझे अभी भी feel होता है. But वहाँ पे, this is what I was doing, dude. I was literally eating myself to I don't know, some kind of disease, most kind of diseases, right? So the allegory is that he's constipated, right? And he's just having an unpleasant life. He wants to, obviously he's trying to attract
Obviously
female.
he's constipated.
Obviously he's
very
constipated.
Unpleasant life.
It's not the best, right? But anyways, right? So he's trying to attract females and all these things. This is happening, right?
While he's constipated.
Dude, he has to live life, right? And this is what happens, right? As soon as he begins to entertain the thought कि यार मैं वापस इंडिया चला जाता हूँ, he gets on the plane. He's not even in India. He gets on the plane and he has the best shit of his life.
Did the plane...
Hadn't even taken off, dude.
And did the plane take off?
Yeah. He goes back to India. But just...
Because I'd imagine if he's, if it's been that rough.
Yeah. I mean, some shit's about to go down when he goes to India, is what I'm saying. But think about that as an allegory, dude. Think about how, if you were to apply that, if you were to obviously, and this R.K. Narayan, no, not R.K. Narayan, something, I don't remember the author's name, but the Return diasporic literature, you'll find it, right?
Okay.
So, but if you could just take out the comic elements and apply that writ large as an allegory to your life or my life or anyone else who tries to make it abroad, struggles or comes back, or tries to make it abroad, struggles, and continues to amputate more and more of their past self to fit in, quote unquote, you will understand that is the story of all of us. We don't understand what the problem is. I was speaking to another friend from Nixa who also moved abroad, has a great job, great life, alhamdulillah. On paper, like I said to you, on paper, you would not be able to explain to me why you came back. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. For me, the why, of course, is a lot easier, because when people ask me, like, why'd you come back? I always tell them, like, it was, of course, it was impossible to stay on there because of the pandemic was starting. But it was just, I had realized that at one point, if you're trying to make it work abroad, it's not always going to work.
No.
And it's extremely difficult because even when I was struggling to get a job at McDonald's because they wanted a Australian experience at that time. It is difficult, and I think that sometimes is forgotten because we want to, or people want to go live abroad or work abroad. Yeah. Amazing projects being done abroad, but it's very difficult, is what I'm saying.
Bro, I think
you realize that. You realize that it's not as easy as just going, because even in visual effects, my friends that are nationals of these countries, are also still sometimes it's not easy.
No, bro. Dekho, again, I cannot stress enough how blessed I've been, how blessed you've been, how much of a privilege it is, alhamdulillah, कि हम गए और हमने जो है ये सब चीज़ें की, ये चीज़ें experience की. Yeah. Just random people screaming in the street.
Well, there you go.
Just Karachi things.
It's a very Karachi thing.
Yeah, just Karachi thing. Yeah.
Did this inspire you to come back?
Bro, this inspired me to go back sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, dude.
Because you wanted to come and...
So I didn't want to come at all. I came back for family. And वहाँ पे ना bro, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, I was 120 kilos. I was not sleeping. I was eating all the time. I think I was eating around 8,000 calories a day. And you know, wow, it's a beautiful country, man. And I was surrounded with beautiful people. I just didn't know what was wrong with me. You know, I didn't understand it. And Abibi, I'm in the process of learning, you know, what was actually going on with me. But I just wanted to do meaningful work. And I found that, you know, meaningful work isn't always going to get you paid, you know, at least in the beginning parts of it, right? But I think you have to come to terms with either just have the grit to then be like, okay, forget higher purpose. I need to make money. I need to sort this out, right? Or pursue your purpose or whatever, and then maybe realize that there will be delayed gratification. Or the third one, which is what you're doing, which is brilliant, is or Allah ko kamyab kare, is कि यार mix the two and then make that happen. I think that's the most difficult thing to do. And I think it needs to be said here, most people will not be able to do it. Right?
I hope I can enable more people. I hope there's more. I really, really, like, people ask me this. Right now at the moment, I am the only one that, at least the first, that cleared that exam. But I do think there's no reason why we shouldn't have more.
Absolutely not, bro. You're absolutely correct, right? But at the same time, all I'm saying is, people can't look at you and be like, हाँ मैं भी ये कर लूँगा. आप कर लोगे, अल्लाह को कामयाब करे, आप भी कर लोगे. But it's really hard work. It's not easy being you, or, you know, being an outlier of sorts. Like, for instance, everyone wants to be a Mahira Khan. But really, how many people are going to become a Mahira Khan?
No, I think that is something to be said about anyone. Like, I really look up to a lot of the people that are pushing space exploration.
Sure.
And recently we just had the James Webb telescope go up. I love space.
Okay.
I was almost going to wear the SpaceX t-shirt, but I didn't. But it's not easy. The amount of work and the amount of commitment, the amount of sacrificing you do, like, your social life might go. You might not have time for family. You have to give up something to get something. So I think you have to be ready. If you're really going to do it, nothing is easy. If you're going to really, really learn something to the level where it will start impacting your life, like if you start impacting others around you, you have to really, really put time to learn it, unless you've been doing it for a very long time.
Sure, which again is has been you putting time in to learn it. But मैं सिर्फ ये बोल रहा हूँ कि वही जो बात है ना, हमने ये भी बोला कि so our experiences, alhamdulillah, have actually been brilliant in diaspora. Allah ka bahut karam hai. You and I, we've had good experiences. But having said that, this wanton romanticization of, you know, pursuing your passions, A, quote unquote, the stereotype of pursuing your passions, and then B, also this wanton romanticization of living abroad. It needs to be mitigated. Like, you need to understand, these are not, like, it's not as sexy as you find it, because you juxtapose it with this situation and you find this situation to be overly negative. तो आप बोलते हो कि यार क्योंकि ये negative है, वो बेहतर है. That's the promised land. That's the utopia. That'll be the best. वहाँ पे भी मसले होते हैं. वो भी अच्छा होता है, बुरा होता है, दोनों होता है ना. So I just feel कि, again, with people like you who are so inspirational, mashallah, say someone looks at you and goes, यार ये कर सकता है तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ.
I would love that.
Yeah, dude. But at the same time, all I'm saying is कि they also need to take stock of the fact that you worked incredibly hard. Like, are they willing to put in this work? Are they? Like,
But it's also don't you agree that it sometimes also comes down to the teacher? If your instructor can inspire you or at least guide you, fan the flames just enough for you to take on a difficult journey. I think a lot of it is like, I struggled with maths in O levels. I was the worst math student. But today I can understand maths concepts a lot more, with increasing. I mean, I can understand stuff on YouTube. The other day I was talking to Sir Bilal about some stuff. I'm not saying I'm a math genius. I'm far from it.
Yeah.
But it's all about having the right mentor, the right teacher, who doesn't say, "Okay, it's not for you. Leave."
Yeah. Yeah.
They go. Okay, you're getting bits of the puzzle. This is what you're not getting. Think of it this way.
Just having the patience to deal with you. Yeah. That's a lot.
Or like kind of feeding you the information in a way that you can process it, you can digest it, not force feeding it to you. Not everyone is the same. Not every learner is the same.
No.
And I think that, yes, it's hard. Learning some of these tools. In one tool in particular, it's called Nuke. It is a phenomenally or Houdini. These two tools.
What are they for?
Houdini is a visual effects tool.
Okay.
And there's memes about this, how difficult it is.
Houdini.
But there are people out there that are putting in the time and effort, and they're learning it. It's not easy, but I do think if you really commit yourself to, I'm going to learn this tool, or I'm going to create something, I'm going to give myself my own problems to learn. It's like learning to play an instrument. The more you play, the better you get. The same goes for coding. Something like coding is like the more you code, the better you get.
Yeah.
The brain's a muscle.
That's it.
Okay. So what I tell people is, like, it's not going to be easy.
No.
Tomorrow you decide to become a mountain climber. You're going to need practice.
Yes.
And then you're not going to go straight to K2.
Mm-hmm.
You probably won't come back from that. But
Yeah, just.
But my point is that it requires stratified. Did I do something wrong?
No, nothing.
Okay.
In case I just don't want audio to be lost.
Oh,
There you go.
I think it's working.
Yeah,
I also think I'm clipping.
No, dude, you're fine. Itna hota hai. That's it.
Yeah, so I just think that as far as learning goes, it's never going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
But having teachers that keep either fanning the flames for you to keep going on is important.
Yeah.
Because there's, in my experience, and my experience isn't the only one.
Of course.
There's either going to be a situation which your job is on the line, so you're forced to learn. Now you've got the impending resignation, or like you might be asked to leave.
Yeah.
So now you're doing it. You're staying up and doing it. So what's motivating you? Fear, or you really want to pass this exam. So what's motivating you? The rewards,
Ambition, excitement,
right?
something. Yeah.
These things. Or you might be in a situation where your teacher is the one there mentoring you to keep moving forward. I think people do need a motivator to keep going, because some of these tools, and anything for that matter, learning Chinese, sometimes I used to get very demotivated when I wouldn't understand, but I had some great teachers who believed in me. They're like, okay, let's just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I did struggle, and like I say, I've said a few times on the show that I can learn to learn, but I struggled. I tried to learn Japanese, and I struggled with it. And then at that point was around the time that I got my job, the job I'm currently doing. I couldn't do it. I ended up giving up. And when I asked myself, like, you can learn so many things, but you can't learn this. Why would you give up?
Yeah.
But I also realized that it's okay to take a break and come back to something when you're ready.
Yeah, bro. It's called a tactical retreat, man.
And I tell my students that as well. Like, sometimes they'll be trying to model. One of the things that I always get the students to model is a teapot.
A teapot.
Okay, it's a very interesting, because it's a very unique shape. It's got different components: the handle, the spout, the teapot, the lid.
Yeah.
So the teapot holds history in modeling. So it's got a place in 3D history. But anyway, without getting into that, but I tell my students, agar nahi ho raha, stop, take a break, come back next week. Take some time off, come back with a fresh mind.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep hammering at it.
Yeah.
And some people do that, it works. Some people just keep hammering at it, works for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think taking a step back sometimes is needed.
Well, there's 9 dimensions of intelligence. And to that end, people have all sorts of proclivities. No? वो जो हमने अभी बात की about intuition playing a role. Like, वो आपने बोला कि some people... आपने बोला hard or organic का जो आपने distinction की.
So hard surface
and
then organic modeling.
surface. Some people will just have intuitively be better at hard surface.
Yeah.
आपने आखिर में यही बोला कि technical skills to one side, some people it just makes sense to them.
Yeah.
Right. Similarly, fine art or I don't know, law will just make sense to certain people. It's all
They're
right.
naturals at it.
And that in turn speaks about how they learn, how they pick up information, how they break it down, you know?
Exactly.
Because there's people that have been, I don't know, vlogging since they were 12 years old. You better believe that these people interact with information, receive information in a completely different way, you know, than us. Because, you know, we're just going through experience in real time while they might be putting it into sections कि यार ये देखो मेरे दिन में आज ये हुआ, ये सब चीज़ें can be vlogged up. I don't know, right? I'm just एक मिसाल दे रहा हूँ आपको. So you're absolutely right then, I think.
I completely agree. Like, this is touching upon another thing I strongly believe. One is that you should have an avenue to expose a learner to many different things.
One avenue.
No, I'm saying avenues.
Avenues, okay.
So like, let's say someone's a business student.
Yes.
Or a law student or a medical student. Why not expose them to game design? Why
Give them
not expose
one course.
No,
Yeah.
like, as in even like I'm not saying a course. I'm saying a workshop.
A seminar.
Yeah, but I also think these are things that are great where you can go in and do a seminar on photography, seminar on podcasting, seminar on audio. I think these things I would love to encourage learners, and I see it all the time. Like, I met a couple of BBA students, and these BBA students were talking to me. We were just talking about media and tech and all this, and they were business grads, but they knew a little bit of data science. They knew a little bit of Photoshop, Illustrator. My younger sister is currently studying business, and she's using Photoshop.
Brilliant, dude.
And
I think it's fantastic.
That just goes to show that because itna easy ho gaya to learn something.
Yeah.
More people are getting more, their skill sets are getting more diversified.
Yes.
So I think usme bahut power, and I'm very excited to see what happens when and you know, like, it's kind of funny you mentioned the Matrix. I think I almost think like we're going towards that. You know, there's a scene where Trinity can't fly a helicopter, and she says, "Oh, upload the program."
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It took them 2 seconds, but technically, it's kind of what we're doing. Right? We're going to YouTube. How to do this?
Yeah.
We watch the video.
Yeah.
Now we know how to do it.
And now the race is on to streamline that process of just consuming the information and synthesizing it. Dude, what are we?
I actually knew one guy who used to listen to YouTube videos on his way to work because they were tutorial videos, so he could just listen to the audio without watching it. He would just listen to the audio while he was reading a book on something else.
Oh, dude.
Just so he would listen to the audio, but he would, because he knew enough of the software to know what they were talking about, and he would have a solution to the problem. So yeah, I'm very excited about not just upskilling people like you yourself and myself, but also testing these on younger learners. I want to throw Unreal Engine at someone that's 13.
I
do want to do that. I want to see. I had a great discussion with some people over in the States who are part of Epic Games educational team, and this one person, he was training teachers.
Okay.
And so I want to. So I do want to do that. I want to give kids or younger learners, I should call them, challenges and see how they take it.
Yeah.
And what they do with it.
Well, I think one of the things that lends itself to you being an excellent teacher, I think, is how excited you are at becoming obsolete. You know what I mean?
Oh yes.
Yeah, because
I love that,
dude. I think
how excited I am at becoming obsolete.
Because so I had a brilliant teacher in Malaysia. His name's Com McNaughton, Dr. Com McNaughton. Brilliant dude. Also a black belt. In an Australian martial art. I'm just like, 6'4", PhD, black belt. I'm like, why are you winning at life? I don't understand. But so he used to say this. He's like, yeah, dekho, the goal is to become obsolete. If you're playing to not become obsolete, you've entirely missed the purpose, right? You barely have 60 to 70 years, and you and I are through half of it. You know, masla hai, Allah रहम करने वाला है. But तो अब अगर आप बैठ के अपनी सीट जमाना शुरू करोगे कि यार अब मेरी यहाँ पे अहमियत किधर है, bro, आपकी अहमियत नहीं है. We're absolutely transitory. This is all transitional, and it's all temporary. So the only thing that you want to focus on is how quickly. First off, how much you can learn, and then how quickly you can become obsolete despite having known all that. Because you now have a retinue of skills. To the average person, if we start to list down your skills, I'd be like, oh, that's a lot. But how quickly can an 18-year-old or a 22-year-old be like, Shaun, I got you. Don't worry about it.
I would love that. And also not only that, but then there's a lot of skills we never learned.
Right.
For me, a skill that I'm learning very only recently is things like, how do you negotiate? How do you say no? How do you say no in a way that you don't come across as not knowing what you're talking about, but just having power in no? Because I think these things are also missing.
Yeah, dude.
And I'd love to bring this to tomorrow's graphic artists in Pakistan on the region, that when you're in a tough spot, a difficult negotiation, how do you do that? I'm not saying that they'll all become clients, like they'll all be servicing client, but I'm saying that they should still know that, because I collectively want to give people not just Unreal training. I also want to give them the ability to earn money from that training independently. Sure, they'll need teams to make games, teams of 5, but this person is a powerhouse. Is a powerhouse because they understand the business of graphics. That I think is because the graphics are fun. They're lots of fun, but ultimately you do need to earn from it to buy all the expensive hardware. Abhi GPU jo hai, a good graphics processing unit is almost the price of a car. The top of the line graphics card is about 4 lakh rupees. Four.
Were you talking about the 3060? What are you talking about?
3090s are probably, I don't know, it's probably even more now.
Yeah.
But these things need to earn you money.
Yeah.
So you can get bigger screens, more screens, do bigger things. The red isn't cheap. So I do want to quickly, quickly train people on the tools. Tell them what the tools can do. Make them completely, give them all of whatever I know and whatever people, my friends around me know. And then ultimately tie that all up together with how do you turn it into a profitable business?
That's powerful.
As a freelancer. And there's some great freelancers in Karachi. I met some people here who are really, really doing amazing stuff over on Upwork and Fiverr.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I also, one thing I do want to tell people is that you'll get a lot more done together. I know it sounds very cliched, but yahan pe, I do want to encourage people कि if you see other content.
Yeah.
See other content, and before you go out and say that it's garbage, it may be garbage. But with your it's terrible, find something good in it, or find something you like in it. Maybe it's something you don't like, then don't follow that artist. But you need to expose yourself to all types of work that you like, what's happening both here and abroad. Because I think until you're not giving other people around you a pat on the back, it's not, I think that you're going to see other people's work, their ideas.
Yeah.
The other thing is you're going to learn from their work. And the third thing is you're going to also help other people feel good about their challenges and their small victories.
That's beautiful, dude.
It's difficult. I learned this as well. Any graphic designer struggles with taking criticism, because when you're up late night, you didn't hang out with your family or whatever. Yeah. You stayed up all night to do this logo, and you presented it in the morning, and maybe you missed the brief or the client doesn't like it. It's very difficult to see your child get absolutely demolished because it wasn't what anyone liked. So ye cheez is very important to understand, that our community support is very important.
Sure. Okay.
I think that is what I want to encourage here, whether it's through the Discord or whether through meeting people. The other day I had gone over to Indus Valley. They had their grad show. Okay. And there was a student there who had done something with Unreal Engine. Her name is Riza. And I literally, because we were discussing what she was doing later on in the day. For me, it all began from the point that somebody at least is using Unreal Engine.
Yes.
Doesn't matter right now in what capacity.
Sure.
Doesn't matter in what the end product is.
Yeah.
As long as they are experimenting, trying something new. It solved a problem. It's great. Go pat in the back. I went there. I was like, dude, great job.
Yes.
Nice. At least you tried and you did something really nice. You presented in whichever capacity, but it was really nice. It was good to see this. I really want to encourage. I want to encourage, like, let's all work together. I know it's very idealistic because competition is going to come.
But competition doesn't mean that you don't work together. I think competition makes you better ना. कल अगर आप पॉडकास्ट शुरू करते हो या कोई भी ऐसे आप फील्ड में आते हो जिसमें मैं जो हूँ आई एम ऑपरेटिंग या मैं कुछ ऐसा करता हूँ, आई थिंक द बेस्ट वे to interpret that or to engage with that is that both of us now push each other, right? So we're happy. You're happy to see me. I'm happy to see you. Okay, Shaun, आज मैं तुम्हें नहीं छोड़ूंगा, because you're like, Kazi, आज मैं तुम्हें नहीं छोड़ूंगा, you know, but in the best possible way, where you're like, I'm gonna outwork
that type
you.
of
You know,
competition is good. Yeah.
But the kind of competition that you're talking about, वो Allah khair karega, bro. Allah khair karega. I understand what you're saying, and I think it's exciting.
It's. I also do understand. You know, like, me and my partner, when we talk about this, Ehsan and myself, it's idealistic. It's idealistic because business, and you can't have everything.
No.
The phrase, you can't have your cake. You can't
eat it too.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm very interested to see how this unfolds. We're going into it very idealistic. We're going into it not knowing what sort of we know that we want to train people on a certain pipeline. What they do with it, I'm very interested to see. What comes out of it, I'm very interested to see. How the game jams work, I'm very interested to see, because I think, like we've been discussing, the more people that learn, that excites me.
Yeah.
And I do want to impart that knowledge into them.
Yeah.
I loved what you said about racing to become obsolete.
Racing to become obsolete, dude. We're doing that right now as we
it's a
speak.
very interesting way to put it.
But the thing is, there's no other. आप देख लो, आप कर लो कोशिश. लोगों ने की हुई है पास में भी, where they're like, नहीं, मैं जो हूँ ना, मैं permanent हूँ. I am an institution. My ass, dude. An institution lasts for hundreds and hundreds of years. You can't live past 90. Come on now. Let's take a breath. Think about the fact that we're temporary. Allah, हम सबको हयाती दे, सबको अपने मान में रखे. But that's the truth of it, man. And I really do think that thought is beautiful, where you're like, yeah, whatever I have, I want to give it to as many people, but also make them understand कि यार पैसे कमाना ज़रूरी भी है और आप कमाओगे, right? Empowering them in that very, very pragmatic sense, I think is powerful. Beral, before we wrap up this podcast, you did promise us that you would explain the difference between virtual and augmented reality. We can't miss that, dude.
Okay, so Kazi has bribed me to say this.
Bribed you with Red Bull.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. So there's three. There's not two.
Okay.
There's a spectrum.
Okay.
One end of the spectrum is VR.
Okay.
Which is virtual reality. The other end of the spectrum is augmented reality.
Okay.
So I'll define these two first, and then I'll move to the middle one. VR is, of course, like everyone knows, it's you wear a visor, and the visor has the screen inside it, or a phone, and then you may or may not. If it's just a visor, then the visor tracks your head movements, and then uses it to give content out. If you have controllers, then the controllers act as interaction, maybe a gun, or like you grab stuff. That's VR. What makes it VR? Again, your vision is completely blocked by the device.
Okay.
Now, the other side of the spectrum is augmented reality. It's exactly what it says it is. It's augmenting reality. So what that means is that it's overlaying the information on top of reality. So VR would be, I always use this fridge as an example.
Okay.
A VR fridge would be a 3D mein fridge hai, and you go and you open the fridge, and there is a bottle or a glass of milk. It's all in 3D. You've grabbed it, and then you're holding the glass of milk. That is VR. AR kya hoga is that if you have a fridge, it overlays that information that inside this fridge there is one glass of milk.
Okay.
So it overlays it over reality. So all of AR is usually almost always overlaid over some sort of real world feedback. अच्छा, इन दोनों के बीच में एक और है, which is MR. And that is called mixed reality.
Mixed reality.
Okay. It is a combination of the two.
Wouldn't you argue that we always exist in mixed realities?
It's very so MR is very interesting. MR combines the two. MR mixed reality would be when you are graphically shown कि एक real world fridge के ऊपर उसके अंदर you can see inside it. Of course, not really, but in 3D, it will show that there's a glass of milk inside it.
Yeah.
So when you open it, there's a glass of milk there. So that's mixed reality, where you're mixing VR and AR. Yeah. So those are the three. And I think we are going to be seeing VR is great for immersion, but VR is terrible when it comes to stuff like if someone is not feels claustrophobic or has nausea in VR. VR is great for getting people immersed in a corner, but it's equally as dangerous.
Okay.
Roller coaster VR experiences will get people feeling nauseous, headaches. So that is something that AR completely mitigates because you're completely aware of your surroundings. ठीक है, आप AR experience में रह के you can get a notification on your phone. You can't do that in a VR experience.
No.
Because you can't see your phone. So AR is a lot more comfortable, but it's lower immersion.
Sure.
That's what both the companies are. Apple is trying to get into AR. So I've heard AR is obviously much more comfortable. It's much more useful. VR is more for experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the
and यही वाली बात है ना कि one of the kind of colloquialisms or colloquial definition or rendition of AR is when you put on glasses, right? I put on glasses and all of a sudden I get schematics, Shaun, Ansari, height, weight, camera,
Iron
Sony
Man.
camera, Iron Man type. That's AR, right?
well, Iron Man is VR because he's
wearing it.
But I know what you mean. Like it's overlaid over.
Yeah.
Ready Player One. I think Ready Player One was also VR.
Yeah.
I don't know what a good AR. What a good AR.
वो Spy Kids में नहीं याद है?
Spy Kids.
वो जो चश्मे पहनते थे, bro.
Yes.
Got you.
I think Apple is going to go down that route. But there was actually one device I had developed for called the Magic Leap.
The Magic Leap.
Their goggles were interesting.
Yeah.
It was these two glasses you would wear connected to a computer on your belt. But very powerful. It was good. It bankrupt, but I think bankrupt. Could be wrong. But yeah, that's VR, AR, and that's
and MR.
And MR, the slippery slope.
Dude, this has been fantastic, man. I'm so glad you came on.
I rambled a lot. So,
Dude,
you're going to have to...
Nothing. I'm going to have to do nothing.
You're going to have to edit the rambles out of it.
Absolutely
I feel
not.
I rambled a lot.
Absolutely not. I'm going to edit nothing, inshallah, except the times I went to the bathroom. वो भी शायद ना करूँ. It's just dead air of you just sitting there playing with your phone.
I'm just saying that. I was just thinking.
Imagine that, dude. वैसे ही people like... I mean, you mashallah say, you're employed in this field. People are like, yaar, ye banda robot to nahi hai. And then they just see you. As soon as I leave, you just turn off. And then I come back on. You're just like, kya baat kar rahe the? But anyways, dude, it's been fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, my pleasure. I hope that whatever you deem worthy of working on or that you hope to accomplish, I hope you get it done, inshallah. Allah आपको कामयाब करेगा. And whenever you feel like coming back on, you come back on. And yeah, dude, I think you're doing it, man.
I think, yeah. I don't know. I'm very excited for the startup. I've never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be starting a company.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for it. It's taken a lot out of my schedule, but very happy to come here and talk about it. It's the first place, actually. This is the first time. If I'm not saying if, I'm saying when it does become a more regular, we have classes and stuff, but we'll always remember this was the first place I came. Because right now, agar aap jaake dekhe, there's no social media. There's only one post about the fact that we went and visited 9 studios. But yeah, this is the first place I'm actually coming on and speaking about it.
Bro,
and very excited to tell people about it.
Allah khair karega, bro.
Reality Forge Asia.
Reality Forge Asia. You want to Instagram pe bhi Reality Forge?
Reality Forge. If you put it up, it'll come. anyone that's interested in video games.
You want to plug in yours and your partner's personal Instagrams? No, you don't.
They're both linked there. So
Okay.
Reality Forge Asia is and my Instagram, though you'll
I
add.
know, yeah.
But anyone that's interested in video games, both on the esports level or game development, interested in just Unreal for cinema, architecture,
Just world
game-
building. Just interested in world building.
anything with
Yeah.
Unreal, please come say hi. We'll figure something out. We'd love to meet more people interested in Unreal in the region.
So, bro, what we'll do is next time we'll also have Kya Kahe Kazi live with you.
I'd love that.
Live with
That
the
would be
audience hota hai.
sick.
Haan. Live with the audience hota hai where I'll just sit there and I'll watch.
That would be great.
We'll do
That'd
that,
be
inshallah.
great. You did
Come
that
on,
recently too, didn't you? I saw that you were live on Instagram.
Bro, live नहीं वो तो कुछ और होता है. I'm talking about you and me in a room with 50 other people who've come there just to ask you questions. But we don't let them ask you questions right away. So you and I talk for an hour.
Nice.
And then after an hour,
I think that would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
Because
we'll do that,
I do want to meet more people and this is not people in the industry. I want to meet people that are doing their O levels,
Yeah.
people that are not even O levels yet, people that are thinking. Everyone's playing video games.
so yeah.
Thinking about actually studying how this stuff works and turning it into a career,
Yeah.
and then really pushing stuff forward here.
Yeah.
So, yep.
That's fantastic, dude. That's fantastic. Shaun Ansari, Kazi Akbar. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.